Welcome to another show with super awesome guest, Kiwi brother from another mother, Campbell from Kiwi
Yeah.
G.I Customs.
Many thanks, bro, for letting me come on board.
Yeah. So we've got a dealer's choice topic this week, something you actually suggested a while back when we've spoken a few months back.
I remember
Pretty
that.
good classic show from the 80s. You want to tell us a little bit about this show or your memories of this?
Well, yeah. Tour of Duty, mate. I remember this when I was way back in high school. So I'm in my 50s, so, born 1974. So, well, no, I can't say high school because I wasn't, I was in high school. Yeah, so this is a great show, mate. But I think it was on late, well, not late, but probably Thursday nights. So our
Yeah, I want to
parents,
say like 8:30, 9:30, something like that.
yeah. So luckily our parents was just like, okay, you can watch this, you can agree. And I think it then later on turned on to um probably Saturday. No, MacGyver was Saturday actually, 'cause that's another show. But yeah, my brothers and I actually loved this, and I loved it so much that even I brought the DVD. You can't see it.
Nice.
Not only just one season, but all three seasons. And fun fact that when I had my oldest daughter, the only thing that sort of quieted her down at about 3 o'clock in the morning was putting on Tour Duty, and I don't know if it's gunfire or explosions, but it sent her back to sleep.
Brilliant. Whatever works.
Yeah, whatever works. But yeah,
Whatever
it's
gets it done.
whatever gets done. Now you can see the main actor there, or not main actor, the main character, like the Sergeant Anderson or Zeke. He's on his third year of his tour, and he's got a wealth of experience and knowledge. And so in the opening pilot, their headquarters, or their not headquarters, their what do you call it, their base gets sort of like invaded and all that. Yeah, you can see that here. Yeah. So his captain, which is played by none other than Batman himself, Kevin Connolly,
Yeah.
the Black Man himself, orders him to tell him that he needs to go to HQ and sort of report on the battle, which is on his Bravo company, and suffer some losses. And so he says, while I'm at HQ, can I recruit some more grunts? And that's what he sort of see when he recruits the grunts. I think, remember correctly, he watched like a football game, a couple of football games,
Yeah, they're
and
doing
he
some
asked
kind
the
of
winner.
football volleyball thing in the mud. It's hard to tell what they're doing.
Yeah, it could be volleyball. I'm not sure what it was. Maybe it was a mixture of wrestling,
Yeah,
volleyball,
it's
and
kind of
football,
wrestling
or
mud
what kind
ball.
of wrestling mudball. Yeah, and he just simply asks
Yeah.
who's the winners, and then he goes the line and picks who he wants. It's interesting that
Yeah, there
one
they
of
are.
the
Yeah.
characters, yeah, right there. And that's how they. And he also meets a fellow sergeant, so he gives him like this belt. It says official North Vietcong belt as to his collection.
Yeah, it's
Which
like keep
cracks
your
me up.
pants up.
Yeah, keep your pants up. Yeah. And one of the first guys he grabs, unfortunately, doesn't last the season. And I think he spoiler alert, he gets blown away on not on a landmine, but on a tripwire mine.
Yeah.
And he was out of commission like pronto. But it's kind of funny because he gets a selection of these new grunts. I'm gonna call them grunts.
Yeah,
That's
the
that's basically what they
green
were.
guys,
And
young fellas.
yeah, green shirts. And this Puerto Rican guy, or I may be saying it wrong, but he's from the Bronx, and
Yeah, he's from the
he,
Bronx. It's all cement, man. It's all cement in my neighborhood.
yeah, and he's not even um he hasn't been playing the game. And he says, "Well, why are you here?" He says, "Well, I heard you say you want winners, and that's what I am. I'm a winner."
Yeah, he just sidles up.
Yeah. Um, and that cracks me up. And this guy here is full of mud. He says, "What's your name, son?" He calls everyone son. He goes, "What's your name, son?" Colonel Picker or something like that. Cool. And I thought, why would you call your first name Colonel? And I can see he wanted to say, I can see what he wanted to say. Like, why would your mother and parents, or your mother and father, call you Colonel, not Colonel, Corporal? Sorry, Corporal, not Colonel. call you corporal. And but he goes, you know, what did you join? I said, I volunteer. He says, well, you volunteer? Why did you want to volunteer for this? He also asked, the sergeant also asked, he doesn't want dopers and he doesn't want people with low IQ.
Yeah.
So he says to this guy, well, I mean, you should have stepped back. I don't want people with low IQ.
Yeah, because you
This is basically
volunteered to
saying,
come into this crazy place.
yeah, you're basically a crazy lunatic or idiot to volunteer for this. But he just says that like he's full of patriotism and honor and all that for his country, which a lot of the guys, it's kind of 50-50. A lot of them were patriotic, and it's more of like the let's say the South and all that. They were
Yeah.
always into all for the country and defending and honor and all that sort of bullshit. I mean, it's not really bullshit. And then there was some that were arrested and they got told to draft into the army to go to Vietnam. So it's not 50-50. And then there was some that would actually just run away from home for some
Yeah.
apparent reason, which cracks me up. And then there's this, if you come across, there's a big, huge surfer guy. And literally,
California.
California. Now, he's a big boy, big boy. I think you can see him. Yeah, there he is right there. And he says, son, how do you get so big? And he just rambles on about this diet that he's having.
Vegetarian and eating all their special supplements.
Yes, exactly.
He doesn't give a shit. It's not a serious question. He just keeps going on.
And then somewhere along the track, he meets up with his LT. And so it gets on the wrong foot. I think Lieutenant Goldman, the new platoon leader.
Yeah.
And the LT goes, well, isn't there a salute for this? Which really cracks me up because I thought, well, look, the sergeant's been in oh yeah, I'm jumping the gun a bit. So yeah, sorry, the guy with the harmonica. I'll go back to the LT guy, but what really cracks me up, the guy with the harmonica, is a protester. He doesn't. I don't know how he got enlisted into the army. Maybe he
it's
got
because some people who were, I mean, regardless of what war, some people voluntarily went to prison or ran away or went to another country and did all kinds of things to avoid going. So I don't know how he actually got there because he must have gone through some kind of training and got a uniform and, to get to here.
Well, my best guess, because he was a protester, I would have got arrested so many times, and then the judge just said, like, there's a choice, either spend time or join the army, or maybe he got pissed too much, and lo and behold, he joined the army. Well, that's the name. Sorry,
stripes.
So yeah, anyway, he hears this music, his harmonica, because the sergeant cannot play the harmonica to save himself. He literally cannot. And I believe there's a wounded soldier on a helicopter who says, like, hey, he didn't say Sarge, but hey, Sarge, I'm already dying. You don't need to kill me any faster.
Yeah. And he's like seriously like bleeding. He's like, you're torturing me, man.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, here's this harmonica, and you recognize it's blue because the sergeant is into the blues, and this guy, I can't remember the guy who plays the harmonica's name. I'm really terrible like Sazel with names. Putting
I'm
Sazel's
terrible
name out
names
there
too. I remember the faces, but not so much the names.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, I was a team leader, and even to this day, I just called everyone Charlie or Horse.
Yeah.
So anyway, here's this music, and he approached him and he says, "Oh, that's it. I want you. You're in Bravo Company." And his mate, the sergeant's mate, other sergeant says, "No, you don't want him, mate. He's a protester." And he just said, like, "No, I want you. I want you." And I think the guy says, "I'll teach you how to play the harmonica." And he says, "Oh yeah, you come in to Bravo Company, pack your bags, get ready to go." Which, funny enough, I actually had to watch this clip twice on the truck. So I actually originally thought that was him on the gunner's position. It looked so much like him, but it wasn't. He was actually in the back of the truck. But anyway, going back to the LT,
it's easy
so
to
they
get
catch
guys
up with it.
mixed up when they're like similar size and build from the back and all that, and all wearing the uniform. And
yeah, green shirts. But yeah, the LT really, really like he goes like goes to the Sarge like, oh, Anderson or Zeke. I'll call him Zeke anyway.
Yeah.
He says, "Isn't there a salute with this?" Now, Zeke, who's been in tour duty for 3 years, this is his first tour. He knows that if he salutes out in the open, um, that snipers will try and get the commanding officer. So he knows not to salute. Yeah, unless they're actually undercover. But the LT is so,
Yeah.
and he's green. The LT is, when I say green, like
Yeah, he's like
he's
LT
fresh.
by rank and training, but not by experience.
Nah, not by experience. So yeah, they're going in a truck, and one of the internet, one of the sort of the things they do is they get a guy jumps up and just starts firing an M60 and say VC VC. And a
Yeah.
lot of the green, and these guys are already green, like they are fresh, and they start ducking and all that, and the LT loses his shit, and the Sarge says, "No, don't worry, it's just something we do," you know. So he tells the young corporal, I'm pretty sure it's a corporal. He tells them all private, like just sit back and just don't do it again because these guys are just, especially the LT, is not used to it.
Yeah. It's
Um,
kind of like a
yeah,
hazing thing, but it's actually a good thing because there's no real combat zone here. Just everywhere, anytime is a combat zone. So they really have to be prepared anytime, anywhere they are to get shot at.
yeah, exactly, yeah, and so I think it's also kind of sort of like teaching to be on their toes, like be
Yeah,
alert,
yeah.
because
It's
they
not
were
like they're
quite
rolling into
relaxed.
France or something in a tank, and you can go, "Oh, we're definitely over the border." It's like, no, people could be anywhere, anytime.
Yeah, yeah. I think funny enough, the surfer guy, I'm gonna call him surfer, um the big surfer guy, he says, "Oh,
Yeah,
Sarge,
the
how do you
California
recognize
dude.
what California dude?" Yeah, California. He goes, "Sarge, how do you recognize what's a VC?" And he says, "I don't know, maybe you should ask for their driver's license."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that was classic.
and I'm sitting there watching this, like I thought to myself, like, I'm pretty sure you don't want any dumb. I'm trying not to swear here, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
pretty
right.
sure you don't want any
Oh, you swearing,
um
yeah.
I'm gonna say dumb assholes here,
Yeah,
but literally, I think he sees something in this big chap, and
yeah.
he is a key player. Like he's loyal. He's he knows he needs strength, so he's like, all right, you're along for the ride. You know, he's got a couple of idiots here. Like one's
He's a little
volunteered. He
simple,
thinks
but
he's
he's got a good attitude and he's a team player. And
yeah, yeah. He is an extremely team player. In the Puerto Rican fella, which blows me away. He's one of the smallest ones there,
yeah,
but he carries an M60,
yeah,
which is bigger than an M16. And I'm like, man, that boy's got cojones. You know,
yeah.
he's got balls.
It's got some of the
He's literally got
Tony
balls.
machismo.
Yeah, exactly. So they go for this hazing part, and they arrived at the base, and I think the base was called Ladybird, I think, or Foxtrot Ladybird. And they get off, and then the captain sort of tells the LT, like, you know, you're off to battle tomorrow. Get some sleep. And the LT goes, "Oh, it's Sergeant Anderson." My sergeant goes, "Yep." And the captain goes, "Oh, is there an issue with that?" And he says, "Oh, no, sir." No. He says, "Well, look, he's a good man. You'll be wise to listen to him." You know, and I'm a firm, but believe it or not, I think this is what actually shapes me when I became a team leader way back in the day. Um, is you got the managers, but then you got the team leaders
Yeah,
and the workers. The team leaders actually run the whole show. They got the experience. They know that they know how to treat their staff.
yeah.
You
But
know,
people are
owners.
on the ground and with the people each day and doing the job know how things are going to run. Versus someone comes from an outside environment, no matter what that environment is, you don't know because you're not there.
Yeah, exactly. So I decided when I became a team leader that the way I would manage or lead is that I would get everyone's opinion, and everyone's opinion would matter because hey, I was there. I was one of the boys on the field or boys on the workshop. just because I'm in the workshop, and also, I had to do paperwork and shit like that. But I firmly believe that if I listen to them, they will know a better idea, like get that experience. I'm not going to say that I'm not going to pull rank and go like, hey, I'm the
Yeah,
one in charge. It's my way or the highway. Well, it is kind of, but really, you need to listen to the guys who've got more experience.
yeah.
And I
When you get
think
the
the L,
collective wisdom and resources out of the people that are here,
yeah, most definitely. And I think the LT, because he was so green and by the book. Oh my god, he was so much by the book. And funny enough, it's quite interesting. Like going through the series, you can see how he changed.
yeah, he becomes more human and less of a robot.
Yeah, exactly. And he values and actually later on this episode, he actually does value um the Sarge's experience, and he ends up sort of like talking to him first, like getting suggestions, like
Yeah,
kind of like Captain Picard when he has his. I know it's a different show, but Captain Picard,
yeah. No, I like watched all the Trek.
yeah, yeah. But how he had his board meetings,
Number
he would
one.
sit back and ask and say like suggestions, and he'll hear everyone's suggestion, and then he would just say, "Make it so," like make what so. Um, so yeah, LT actually ends up sort of like getting battle hardened and realize that for him to survive and for his platoon to survive, he needs to follow his sergeant who's been doing this for like
Yeah,
like 3 years
like three and a
straight.
half years or so.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Like he saves his
Yeah,
life a
so
few times, like the whole group when they're like the new young guy wants to be like, okay, we're gonna go over here and take this. It's like, no, you do that, you're gonna die. We've got to spin down. Let me flank. Let me
yeah,
go.
exactly. Now there's a funny part here coming up where they're going in and getting their Rex. So the Rex is basically their beds and all
Yeah,
that, and they lost a few troops during the first battle. So they're asking, "Oh, is this rack free?" And I think
it's like,
the
oh,
African
he's
American
gone
guy
home yesterday in a bag.
in the bag, and it was like, "Oh, okay. Um, is that one free?" They couldn't find the rest of them, but he's
Yeah,
gone
nothing
too.
left of him.
And I think one of the guys said, "Oh, like the California guys says, oh, stuff this. I'm going to sleep on the floor."
Yeah, I was sleeping on the floor.
And one of the other guys says, "Oh, doesn't worry me, man. I'm sleeping on there."
Yeah.
But it's I can understand why. Like we do it as human beings, we do kind of do it. Like some people don't really accept new faces when they come along.
Yeah, you
You
see it in
know,
workplaces and that. Like you got the old group and new group and little cliques, and it's like us versus them until people kind of integrate and mix together. And
y- yeah, and until you prove yourself, then
yeah,
you're part of our clique.
and these guys
I
have just
recall
died in the last few days. Give them a day, then claim the bed. It's like,
exactly that grieving. I mean, they're doing a job as soldiers, but they're still grieving.
yeah,
And it's quite funny because the Puerto Rican guy comes in as well, and you can see he's cocky. I mean, I wish I remember his name, but he's cocky as, and he comes in, he's smiling away, and he goes, "What? Haven't you seen a?" I'm not going to say the name because I'm Puerto Rican or whatever, and the African American says, "Oh, not as ugly as you," and I may have said that wrong, but it doesn't phase him. He just grins it off, and yeah, it really
yeah,
cracks me
he's a
up.
real tough guy. That and even says a few times he's like when they're recruiting him back in that like kind of mudball scene, he's like, oh, I don't want people that going to be green and not be able to go into combat. He's like, man, I live on the streets. You think I never shot somebody before?
In the Bronx, yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah, he's a good character. So I think
Yeah,
it's.
yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
looking on my sidebar here. Pretty sure it's this guy. It says Alberto Ruiz, played by Ramon Franco.
Oh, that's
I
his
think
name,
it's
is
that
it?
guy. I
Yeah,
think that's his name. It's hard to tell. I'm looking at tiny little thumbnail things.
yeah. Oh, what's it? There's a. I'm just looking at the. Oh, I can't quite read it actually. I'm going too fast actually
So
to read
I
this.
watched over the last since last night and yesterday, I watched the first 5 episodes of the show, so at least I'm getting more familiar with the characters again. But then people are dying in every episode, and you're going, well, they're still in the credits, so you're kind of keeping track of who's alive and who's still there.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Like as I said, I'm sort of halfway through the first season. I'm just going through the book here. Yeah, I know where I'm up to. I'm up to going for there's an episode called Blood Brothers.
Yeah.
And so I've basically I've got to get back to it, to be honest. It's hard. It's as much as I would love to. I've also got young girls, so it's kind of pain in the ass that you
want
to
watch it. Get into your DVD collections when you're not around. Going, we want to watch this stuff.
No, they want more like. I mean, I'm an old bugger, but I've got young kids, so I started off real late. But they're into like Paw Patrol and Bluey. Nothing wrong with Bluey, but honestly, when you've seen Paw Patrol and Bluey so many times, oh my god, I wish I went to Vietnam. Yeah, that's cool.
Got a little collection of Bluey figures over there because they're everywhere here. They're just every shop in Australia pretty much got them.
Yeah, that's out the gate. Oh, I should have actually bought. It's funny. I was so fascinated with Vietnam. Actually, watching Tour Journey, I studied Vietnam War in during history. Don't ask me again what's it like, because I've totally forgot about it.
I learn more from watching films, even though old films are often inaccurate. But over several decades, you learn little bits about the different battles and places, and then the whole politics and Nixon and all the stuff and trying to pull out, and then all the other stuff about bloody Air America and cocaine and drug smuggling and opium and other shit, and all the other things were going on around as well. Heaps of stuff.
Exactly. And
CIA bullshit.
This is probably the most realistic TV show.
Yes.
I'm not saying movie, TV show about the Vietnam War.
It stands up really well. I think it stands up as good as any of those post like new wave 70s films we had, like kind of like, and they call them anti-war films, but really they're being realistic war films rather than jingoistic, unrealistic war films we had in the old days. But like, your Platoon, Full Metal Jacket, this is that same sort of quality and feel where we're really seeing real human beings in horrible situations, and are adapting, learning, and dying, and you guys are coming in, and all the usual stuff from their background comes into it, like the racism. There's stuff about drugs, there's stuff about sexuality, there's stuff about guys from the north and guys from the south, but now we're here, and one scene, the guy's arguing with like the black guy and the southern guy, and they're going, oh, who do you hate me more? He's like, me or the actual enemy we were fighting? He's like, no, I hate you more. And you're supposed to be working together.
Yeah, that's right. You're right about that. How you say, I believe that it's like there was a division between a lot of the blacks, the whites, and the Puerto Ricans.
And then they had the protests back on in America while this is all happening.
Yeah, the Black Panthers. So there was one guy in one of the episodes further on. It was a new guy that came along, and he wanted to divide the blacks and the whites. And I think Jones, is it? Or
they got it's a young Ving Rhames is like the leader of, was it Ving Rhames? I think it was Ving Rhames. It was like the kind of leader of the new guys that come in, of the black guys, and he's quite like not militant, but he's got that kind of black power attitude, and like, you're either with us or against us sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So eventually they sort the shit out and realized what they were doing is wrong, and it became a platoon again, and not to listen to this other guy that's sort of like, how do you say, manipulating.
He's like agitator. It's like he's saying stuff that's easy to agree to, but it's not the time or the place. It's just stirring up the pot and the bee's nest, and getting everyone riled up about stuff. Not focused on the mission.
Yeah. He keeps referring like, it's us brothers that go out there first, while the Pickerwoods, which is what they used to call like the officers or the white guys or crackers.
Yeah.
I'm bringing out some real slang here, but bear in mind, people, this is what it was back in the day. So I'm not that type of person. I'm
And
just
they're
simply
still using
saying
this
how.
language in the show when you're watching this, as well as other words that I won't say here, because it's in context and it's how people spoke and what they did as
Yeah,
we've shown.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, I'm not that way inclined. So yeah, that's it's how
Yeah,
they
no,
say it.
I
And
don't think anyone gets the impression.
I mean, so much so, I'm using the slang in the language. So my brother and I, we were a big fan of the game Conflict Desert Storm, and then it went Conflict Vietnam. If you ever
Yeah,
played on the PS2,
yeah, yeah,
mate, that was so out of it. Eh? Even though we've clocked the game, we must have played about 5 or 6 times. I think I'm still playing it on my own. It's
yeah.
funny enough when you play it with a teamwork with another person that you play it on your own, you don't get the same enjoyment. You don't
No,
sort
it's
of get
true.
that same strategy and like, bro, you go to the left and flank him out. You know, but it was literally insane. It was really good, and it was quite funny. I'm going off course here, but Combat Vietnam PS2 people. So you had Rayman, or Ragman, which describes and he was a sergeant. That was
Yeah,
Sergeant Anderson to a T. Okay. Then there was Hoss, who was a heavy machine gunner, but he was all for the war. So he would charge into battle as a nutter. Um, you had there's Doc, and I think there was I can't remember the other guy. Um, Someone put it on the descriptions who it could be, like Sweet As, but
yeah,
I was like, I was like, so he was like 2 weeks off of going back home, and he keeps saying, "Yeah, I'm too short for this, man." And when I say too short, they mean they're on their way home. They're on their way going home,
yeah,
and yet they keep going deeper and deeper into the jungle. And he keeps saying, I'm too. I'm not going to swear, but I'm too effing short for this."
yeah,
And they would actually swear on the game, but the game was so realistic, and they took the game, they took the show like Platoon, not the show, they took the movie like Platoon, Full Metal Jacket,
yeah,
and Tour of Duty. So much so they added the painted black
yeah,
thing to it. That
yeah.
was so realistic. It was unbelievable. But anyway, so
Does your on your version of the DVDs, has it got the original music or the placeholder? Because they didn't have the rights on some of the publication, because it famously had a lot of classic 70s music like Stones, Jimi Hendrix, and all that.
yeah, it's got it, mate. Yeah, yeah, and
Oh, nice. The
it's
ones I
it's
was
it's
listening to this morning, it's got the placeholder. I can hear this boom, boom, boom. You can tell it's Hendrix style, but it's not actually Hendrix, because I've always got Best of Hendrix on my car
yeah,
CD player. It always sits in there on my rotation. It doesn't go out of there.
it's kind of funny. We had the Rock 2000 here in New Zealand, and
Yeah,
that's where they did a lot of the. It's like a vote to see who's the number one pick in New Zealand, and they've had a lot of Vietnam, and I had this running joke, and no disrespect to all the people who are watching who got veterans lap. I had this running joke that, yeah, yeah, I had a workmate who saved my sorry ass and from Vietnam, but I'm not dissing you, and it's just like I've got a great respect for the history. It was pretty messed up, to be honest. It was literally messed up. I believe I've got an uncle that served in Vietnam,
yeah,
and he doesn't talk about it much, and I don't even pester him about it. You know, just leave that shit alone. Leave it alone. But I
yeah.
do
Well,
have a lot of respect for him.
a lot of people that went, the ones that didn't die but came back and lived. You might be missing a limb, might have got brain damage, might have got chemical poisoning from Agent Orange and other stuff, and all kinds of things, as well as the actual psychological trauma of going to war. You get all this stuff on top of it.
Yeah, I reckon the psychological will be worse than the actual
Yeah.
physical.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure. I mean,
that's
that's what drives
yeah,
people to alcoholism, suicide, and beating up their families and stuff, or not talking to them, or whatever those for the
yeah,
male traits and that.
yeah. You're getting to a. I actually was looking at the scene here. So the the protester, um, he says, oh, he's not going to carry a weapon. He's not going to fight. So then the
Yeah,
sergeant
he
says,
left it
right,
in the
you're going to be.
helicopter when they jumped off.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe that. So he says, right, you're going to be RT. So RT is like radio operator. And he says, you're going to stick close to me and the LT. So they're up in the helicopters or the Hueys, getting ready to go to the scene because the captains ordered them to they need to um, find these platoon of VC or Vietcon or whatever,
Yeah.
and so lock and load, and it's got I think the music. I can't remember if the music was playing or not, but whenever I sort of see that scene, I'm looking just at the screen here now, like with a whole bunch of Hueys. Yeah, just yeah, unbelievable way. It brings back memories. Even though I rewatched this episode today, um, it does really bring back memories when I first was a teenager watching this, and that's why I sort of got into the Vietnam. Um, watching doing Vietnam as a history,
Yeah.
and that's why I got like the models I've done, like the patrol boats. But yeah, going back to the protester, he decided to leave his M16 in the helicopter, and so the LT, if you can, once they've landed, the LT is really quite green, and he wants to lead, which is fair enough. That's
Yeah.
good. But he's literally the sergeant's telling the LT to stay down, and and he just couldn't wrap his head around it, which cracks me up.
Yeah, and he
And the
tells him like
sergeant,
you're going to fight, and he's like no, and then he's like fine, I'm going to give you a job to do. You're going to carry the radio, and you're going to be right near me, and he gives him a job to do, which is what you want to do if someone's being difficult. It's like here's a job, you're going
yeah,
to do this.
yeah, exactly. I mean, and also the fact I think he also wants to keep him alive because so he can learn to play the harmonica properly.
Yeah,
So it's a double-edged sword.
like I watched that
Um,
one Hacksaw Ridge, and that had a guy who was a passive. I think it was some version of Christian whatever, and he carried a weapon, but he didn't fire it. But he hauled a whole lot of guys out who got shot, and they gave him bloody medals for hauling out the guys that were shot and dying.
what I love about that, it's based on I love war movies or anything like that that's based on a true story.
Yeah,
Like I read the Bravo to Zero book, if you ever read that, and then I watched the movie. And mate, I could swear I was actually in there because I read the
yeah,
book. Like, I'm not much of a reader, but I read that book and I read it like thoroughly and all this.
nice.
And then I also read it's done. The book was by Andy McNam, but that's another tale anyway. But yeah, going back to like the Vietnam, and this is like so realistic. So the LT threatens the Sarge and the RT. This is the radio operator now. He's threatened to court martial them both. um, so then the Sarge convinced him that instead of going into the tree line, so the tree line is where the Viet Cong, which is quite cleverly, they stay in the tree line and they land in this field. And they're out in the open. There you go. Like, look at that. They're out in the open. And so the sergeant says, like, get down, get down, get down. And, basically disobeying the order. And also, he grabs the LT and
Yeah,
pushes them down the ground. And he says, like you're better off calling artillery and just say where they
keep
are.
these
And if
guys
they are,
alive.
you keep these guys alive. Like, he says, in that way, no one gets hurt, or less people get hurt, which is which is exactly what it is. It's
Because it's got to manage the resources, or all this going to get bloody turned into
yeah,
dog chow
yeah,
straight out the gate.
yeah. So I don't know honestly if I would have, and I did try to join the army, but if I saw a commanding officer or an LT um, marching into battle, screaming like "Let's go, let's go!"
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm too loud.
we're going to
Um,
take this ridge. It's like, no, you're not John Wayne. It's like, calm
and
down.
you're like, yeah, mate. Look, they're behind trees. We're out in the open. This ain't gonna
Yeah,
work.
yeah,
This ain't gonna work. So that's why the Sarge, who's experienced, says, "No, get the artillery to bomb the tree line, and then we'll go through." That's smart thinking. Oh, there's a saying that Duke from G.I. Joe says.
yeah,
He says, the generals may win the campaign, but it's the sergeants that win the battle, or something like
yeah.
that. So he's basically saying like the sergeants are on the field, they know their shit, listen what they have to say, and go for it. And honestly, I would do the same too. I've got, um, I would literally follow suit. Like I would often, I recall I was on the farm. That's where I was a manager, but there was a guy that, and I'm not really a farmer. I
Yeah,
can lead people, but I always go to my 2IC and say, all right, what do you suggest? And I'll listen
yeah,
to him and go like, all right, cool, let's do it that way. Um, and it was quite funny because there was a time where I was going to stand down, and he didn't want me to stand down. And he says,
mhm,
"Nah, nah, you're a natural leader." Um, and I said, "Oh, okay, cool. I won't stand down." That's another killer fish. But yeah, I always
that's good
relied on.
feedback.
Yeah, I always relied on the on my 2IC or sergeants. I think it's
Mhm,
because, like I said, watching this
yeah,
made me realize that it's the experienced workers that you need to keep on, or the staff,
yeah,
and cherish them, and they're the ones who actually train the future staff members.
yeah.
Like you
It's,
can get
it's
yourself like a
unfortunate in a workplace if you have a high turnover and you don't get the experience passing on to new people, and everyone's inducted into policy, but okay, here's how we actually do it day to day.
yeah, like you can employ a brand new manager, but that manager, he may be great on paper, or he or she may be great on paper,
Yeah,
but if he's got no, or if that person's got no experience, God help you. God help you. I was quite lucky that I was really good with people, but with managing livestock, I had no idea.
yeah,
So I knew to step back, let my 2IC train me and the others, and then way to go. I mean, you could say I was kind of lazy, but no, I was smart enough to. I was smart enough to know that maybe I was in charge, yes, but also I was smart enough to stand back, learn, and if he says go, we go. Simple as that.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
there's wisdom
I
in it.
used to get a lot of. I used to get a lot of arguments with my general manager with that sort of style of thinking, and I said like, there's no point me going in balls to the walls, or like shouting like, let's do this, and make a complete fuck up. Sorry,
Yeah,
and we're fucking history. It's better for me to work with the most experienced people, and this actually ends up being later on with the LT. The LT towards the end of the show realized that he needs to learn from the Sarge, and it does
yeah,
show, and it does go on, and literally, I think season 2 or 3, there's a couple of new players that come along. I think there's a they bring in like a helicopter. It's a lieutenant, but he's a helicopter pilot, but he's very
yeah.
green, and also quite cocky. Um, and yeah, they sort of clash a lot, but it is what it is. But yeah, so that's so anyway. The LT threatens to court martial the sergeant and the radio operator. The radio operator for leaving his rifle behind,
Yeah.
and the sergeant for basically bringing him down, even though he saved his ass, bring him down. Um, but I mean, towards the end of the day, he doesn't court martial them at all.
Yeah.
But there's a scene where the Sarge says to the RT guy, the radio operator, "You're something else," or "You're excellent," or what's he say? There's a saying that he said to him, "I thought, man, you're outstanding," or something.
Yeah.
Like he's saying that you're one crazy motherfucker for leaving your rifle behind in a gunfight.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely by some of the last few episodes in, he gets attacked up close and he ends up like just knifing the guy because that's all he has left on him.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's yeah. So you can sort of hear people like the sergeant orders and actually it's the sergeant that orders the artillery. So they go into the where the tree line was, and they found blood,
Yeah,
and
blood
so
trail.
yep. So then the sergeant convinced the LT and says, "All right, you better tell HQ or base what we're doing." So it's kind of funny how the lieutenant now realizes that, yeah, I'm going to basically follow suit, even though I'm in charge, follow suit and see what, do it this way, because it's not all cut and dry.
It's different terrain, different enemy, different kind of environment where it's very different than anything this guy's done in training.
Yeah, well, it's funny enough, like the Vietnam War was basically based on guerrilla warfare. Now the Americans and I think the Allies weren't trained for that. So basically, their training,
they didn't know about making bamboo spikes with poison and pits and tunnels and all this.
Yeah, exactly. So they were totally inexperienced. I think the first year or 2 years within the war, they didn't know. So because and honestly, that sergeant is in his 3.5 years of his tour duty. So tour duty, I think, is in tour for like a year.
Yeah,
I believe. Yeah, 12 months. So that's what tour is, tour duty. So yeah, so if he's in there for 3 years and he survived, yeah, you listen to the man. So they go along and they find, they found a claymore, and it's jury rig on a wire.
Yeah, a lot of trips and traps all through these episodes.
So the sergeant says, we've got two choices. We can either blow it up and they'll know where we are, or we disarm it. And I funny enough, watching the game today, I didn't realize, and it was so true. What they did, they had C4, and then they put like nails, screws, whatever around the C4. So basically create a claymore mine.
Yeah, it's like a dirty cluster. It goes everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that to me, it blew me away, because I've seen the show quite a few times, but funny enough, as I catch up today, I was like, and I even paused. I went, wow. They didn't even have to do that. Didn't even have to, on the show, add the screws, the nails, and they weren't clean screws or nails. They were actually rusty, dirty nails, C4. And I thought for the show, for the director to do that, that was really good. As I said before, it's the most realistic show about the Vietnam War that you can ever get.
Yeah. Well, there's a scene in one of the episodes where the main guy goes, we're out here, we've got equipment and the government and supplies. And it's like these guys are out here and they might be on a belly full of rice for a week and they're fine because they're used to it. They're used to surviving in this environment and making the best of the terrain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think he gets the pen off the guy that doesn't have the gun, who wants to not kill anyone, has a pen and he's writing something, and they end up using the pen to disarm the trip to get a piece of it out of the center.
Yep. To disarm it. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Puerto Rican guy is mocking the surfer guy because the surfer guy doesn't like lizards. So he found this lizard and he was like,
"It's like your mother."
Yeah, it's like your mother. It reminds me of your mother, he says. But the beautiful thing about this is that the surfer guy, and he reminds me so much of Rock and Roll without the beard. If you're a G.I. Joe fan, Rock and Roll is blonde. He's a surfer. I think he is quite like that. Yeah, dude, on the cartoons.
Yeah.
But he didn't get super upset. He could have like punched him over, but he didn't. He sort of
he's pretty chill. He's a pretty chill guy, and he's big like a bear. Like I wouldn't want to mess with him. He actually pissed him off. I wouldn't want to mess with him.
No. And if he's still alive, I don't want to mess with him either. So anyway, so this scene, so he sort of shoves the like gives the lizard a kiss. That's cool, and he gives it to the surfer guy, and the surfer guy like shoves it away, and it runs off.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna call him the guy from the Bronx. I'm not gonna say Puerto Rican because I'm trying to be more PC. So the guy from the Bronx chases after the lizard, and he
goes up that little hill and accidentally discovers some troops over the other side.
Yeah, he actually discovers their base. Believe it or not, he's two Viet Cong, loading a couple of crates.
They could have walked right past it if not for this silly interaction with the lizard.
Yeah, because the stars chase after him, and so he says like, get down, and he says, I see two of them, and then the Sarge goes down for a better look, and he literally sees like I don't know if it's a cave or whatever, like a smaller
It's
base,
like
and this
improvised
is
kind of
literally,
huts or something like that, and where they've got like
yeah,
munitions
I
and
would
that
say
stashed
so.
in there.
Yeah, so it's like heaps of ammunition and like boxes full of like a hell of a lot, like
Yeah, like
unbelievable.
little fireworks factory, so he knows he can he's got some strategy about what to do about it.
Yeah, so he gets an idea to tell his LT, but as he goes back, the um the first guy that we see in during that volleyball mud wrestling match, the first guy that he picks, he sits on a I believe he sits on a landmine or a
Yeah, I think
tripwire.
it's another mine or trip thing that he's stopped on at the pressure zone, so he can't move. If he moves, it'll go off.
Yeah, so the sergeant is like, don't move," but you can see he's panicking, and these
Mm.
things are quite sensitive, actually. Um, so much so that I've heard rumors that even like frogs or snakes been setting them off.
Anything, breathing,
Eh,
moving, twitching.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, so I think he just takes one little move, and literally it blew me away. Well, sorry, no pun intended.
Yeah,
Um, but seeing that on the TV, basically he died right in front of you,
yeah,
by the explosion or the character. Um, so naturally, with the explosion, they know that shit's hit the fan and it stirred up a hornet's nest, and they know their position's been compromised. So they the Sarge says like, I think LT decides to call in artillery. They can't do it because there's
yeah. He's starting to get how things work here. That you've got to like use
yeah,
your tactics and
he's catch
strategies. You can't just like be an idiot and running cack-handed.
yeah, and that's he's a really quick learner. So the Sarge is actually quite impressive. And I think he made a comment that he wants to keep him around. Um, so he can't call in artillery because there's planes or helicopters in the way or whatever. So
Yeah,
then the Sarge says, "Well, what about air support?" And basically it says like, no can do. So I think they asked for extraction. So I think they got the extraction, I believe. So they're going to head back for that. But then he calls on the guy from the Bronx, and I'm going to say his name is Jones.
yeah,
So he was the first guy that already part of Bravo Company. You can see down the screen he's got a law rocket system or
yeah.
anti-tank.
He puts that to use in a few episodes.
Yeah, so he tells him to bring it over with him, and he
And
says,
only
"What's your
got one
plan?" And he
shot.
says, "You got one shot." That's what he says to the RT. "What's your plan?" It says, "My plan is to take it out. I hope."
Yeah, and I like it. He's
So
like, I never miss, and he doesn't. He guesses.
yeah, it doesn't miss, and also I failed to mention people that his best buddy got killed in the first scene. So he says like, "This is for Mickey," and yeah, he gets it, and you can see the explosion, and that tells me straight away there's a lot of ammunition and
Yeah, there was
like
I feel like a good
fuel.
little stash house that they probably like would go on patrol and come back and restock because it's
Yeah,
hidden away
yeah,
under the trees and
yeah, exactly. Now there's a scene that scene there reminds me so much of the game, the PS2 Conflict Vietnam,
yeah,
and there's like a little cave, and it's full to the teeth of ammunition, all that.
yeah,
Um, I don't think you can blow it up, but I recall going to that cave and seeing all this ammunition and weapons, and my bro and I were four people get our ammo back, and then we decided to basically leave it alone, like get the hell out, just in case someone decides to shoot it up while we're in there. So, oh, actually, no, they didn't get LC, so they don't get airlifted. Sorry, so they blow it up, and the support comes along. So this cracks me up. The captain comes back. It says at the end of the show, the captain comes on, and his face is dirty and muddy. So I don't know where he's been fighting, but he's been fighting somewhere. And he says this is outstanding. This is what this is going to make the brass happy. You know, brass is like the generals
Yeah.
or the colonels or captains, or you know, his is going to make his bosses like the majors and all that happy. This has happened. So there's a surviving Viet Cong, and he crawls up and grabs a pistol, and the protester guy or the LT, the radio guy sings out, "Look out!" So he wrestles against him, and he's like fighting with him, and then he hears this gunfire, and I thought, oh, well, there you go. He's if you haven't watched this, so you thought, well, he shot him, but it ends up he has this knife, and he just pulled the knife and stabs him,
Yeah.
which makes me think he didn't actually. At first, I thought he actually shoots himself, but no, he realized, and what the sergeant said, that you know, you don't mess around here. You don't mess around with this. You know, this is for real. So he realized that his life is more important, and so grabs a knife and kills the Viet Cong. And he literally changes too the protester. Like he ends up being a really good team player,
Yeah.
and yeah, like like totally insane. And how you also mentioned that how we said it is realistic, like drugs and all that. Like yeah, there's a later on in the series, one of the key players I think shot a Vietnam boy, and
Yeah.
he doesn't quite get over it. And even though the sergeant says, let it go, it's going to eat you up, let it go," um, he doesn't quite let it go, and a sort of series of events leads him to become and sorry to let the cat out of the back, bro. Leads him to become a heroin addict. But that also shows that in the series too. So as I said, for a TV series, it is pretty full on. It is pretty real.
Yeah, it's very full on, and this is in the '80s before we get to,
Yeah,
Miami Vice had like similar themes, but it was more kind of cowboy adventure of the
yeah,
week in the background of kind of some realistic stuff of drug wars and that. Whereas this is before we get to HBO with your Oz and the Wired, where it becomes more normal to show the reality of horrible situations. And a lot of the networks had
yeah.
different standards, what they could and couldn't show on TVs and time slots.
I'll show
So it's
you.
quite groundbreaking to have the show be quite realistic in this era.
So that's season 2, mate. And so that's
Yeah,
Sarge. Can you see? Yep. So he's gone back home, and see that's how real. He's saluting a dead soldier.
yeah,
You know, it's tragedy of war. To be honest, um, season 3, and I should have brought out my Lieutenant Falcon.
yeah,
So they season 3 they go into the recon, the long range reconnaissance. So Bravo company changes a bit, and they become long range reconnaissance, like real sneaking in, get a reconnaissance, and yeah, and I even the LTs in there too. Like it's a really good series to get into. Like if
it
you're
is
really
fantastic. I watched 4 episodes in a row this morning. I couldn't stop watching them other than to get up and come and talk to you for a minute.
you had me quite worried because you said what time we're doing this, and I was like, um, it's this time now and it hasn't gone through yet. But I was like, no, I'm pretty sure you mean 3 p.m., not AM, like
Yeah, yeah.
Sunday
No,
morning.
I by the clock, man. I just waiting for you for your time. I went out and back and just did some weeds for a couple of hours. I was watching the clock coming in, counting down minutes. I was on
Now, when
mission,
you said
man.
doing weeds, bro, you don't mean doing that sort of weed, eh?
No, no. I mean, I was pulling out weeds the size of the stuff the guys are crawling around in the show here. The weeds here are like desert weeds, man. They get like 6 feet tall, as big as me.
Yeah, that's like the inside. Oh, there, right? Look.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hold it towards your chest because it's like disappearing with the background. Yeah, there we go. There we go.
can you see
That's
me
it.
all right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that's as I said, that's the complete first season. And when I got that in New Zealand, I got it for $36
Nice.
from the warehouse. So you being a
Everyone gets
Kiwi,
the
you know what the
bargain. That's
warehouse.
what I've heard. That's the rumor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so when I swear to God, when we don't do DVDs anymore here in New Zealand.
Yeah. Yeah, they
They
stopped. A lot of publishers are actually pulling out in the last year or two. They stopped selling stuff in stores, and so
like Nick.
a lot of publishers have stopped printing them and that. So it's a good time to snap up stuff on eBay or find it in stores
Yeah,
before it's gone for good.
yeah. So what is it? It's looking at the screen here. So there's LT, but it's the guy at the very at my hand, right hand or left hand.
Yeah,
That's Jones. So yeah, he uses that law a lot. Um, but you get to see a lot of I'm not gonna say it to you, bro. There's one character I was
yeah.
that did die on this, and that blew me away. And um, it reminds me. There's a death in the G.I. comic books. I'm so terrible with remembering shit. Actually, um,
That's okay.
as when it's in the G.I. comic books when they're the first major. I don't mean like Quinn or General Flag's death, but the first group of Joes that died. Um,
Yeah,
and when it was when he passed away or when they killed him off, I just like whoa, it shocked me. It was
that's the
like he
old
was
Marvel comic.
yeah in the old Marvel comic, yeah. And when they killed that character off in Tour of Duty, I was like, wow. And to me, I thought to myself, well, shit's got real now. But then I
Yeah,
had to sit back and like, hell, this is a TV show. But that's why I said it's so realistic. It isn't funny.
there's
You know,
nobody's safe episode to episode. I mean, you've obviously got a cast, and some are going to continue, or we don't have a show. But we
yeah,
learned early on with our main dude, like our seasoned dude who's been there 3.5 years. Um, there's ones where he's having a little private conversation with the guy he's seen not for a while who comes in for a guest mission when they got to blow up a bridge, and he's saying, I remember when we were back there and we lost everyone, and you sent us in, and he'd lost
yeah,
everybody, and then he went home to his wife and kids, and they had left him, and he's like, "Fuck this! I'm going back to Vietnam. I've got nothing else to do."
yeah. That is right. That is season 2, the Sarge. So he goes back home, and yeah, his wife and kids had left him. So he's well, I'm going back. I'm going back to Vietnam. That's something I just know. It's kind of like how it's sad, but how people go to prison and then they come out and they go, well, shit, I'm scared of the real world. I'd rather do a crime
Yeah,
than go back to
that's the
prison.
new system they're used to, and they don't know how to operate in the
Yeah,
old systems. They've been out of it too long. And the same thing going to
yeah,
war. If you've gone for a long period of time, you're adjusting to a whole new reality and way of living.
yeah, exactly. It's yeah. So yeah, that happens in season 2. Uh, see if we can bring out some more. Right, bring that out.
Nice.
Hide that goddamn mic out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's season 2. So yeah, guys, like literally check it out. It's I mean I know it's dark and all this. Like we've got the war in Ukraine and so there's the LT right there. You can tell he's like hardened up now. Oh, sorry, LT. Yeah, there we go. Oh,
Yeah.
you just did that. Yeah. So there's the LT here, and he's hardened up now. And there's the helicopter pilot lieutenant. You can see he's quite cocky.
Yeah.
All this. And they got that sort of like the sort of like the tiger stripes for that sort of war. Like there you go. Look, he's just killed a Viet Cong.
Yeah.
Yeah, insane. It's
I like
I've
how
got a
we see when you see him across the different missions and that he's you wonder how the hell is he so relaxed, and you realize he's just been there so long. This is like his home now, living there, and he's even learned a few words of the language when he talks to villagers and that now and then. And other people are like, "What are you talking about?" Like, and start thinking, "Has he gotten
oh
soft?" And he's like, "No, I'm not addicted to war. I'm just like I'm a survivor." That's like what he said.
yeah. Do you recall a scene when they were in the tunnel? I hope you
Yeah, the
remember
tunnel
that scene.
where it collapses and the
And
guy goes in.
there's a snake that comes out, and he talks something about Viet Cong, and the alto goes, "What does that mean?" And he says, "I don't know. It means something about your mama."
Yeah, something about your mother yelling it out down the tunnel, like, "I'm coming to get you and your mother," or something like that.
But when the snake comes out, he says, "Was it a two-step?" And he says, "What do you mean by that?" And says,
You take 2
"They
stabs
often
and you're
they
dead.
yeah." So that's what they used to do. They plant these two-set snakes. They must have had them in baskets or whatever, and as
Yeah.
their con are running through the tunnel, and they know they're not going to come back. They
And the
release these
tunnel structure's
snakes.
massive. It's like a whole little underground bloody half a city thing under there. The amount of stuff they've got is incredible.
Yeah, my wife has been lucky enough to actually gone to Vietnam.
Yeah.
And fun fact, so I'm in my 50s, so you could say I'm a dirty old man, but there's a 12 years
Aha.
difference between me and
You
my
heard it here
wife.
first.
Yeah. Uh, so she was born in 1987, right? When this film came out, she literally did went to Vietnam through her school,
Yeah.
and actually went around and sort of like saw the pits and the fire M60s and all that. I've got
Yeah.
a workmate who actually went in dodgy as and they got guys like, we want to fire an RPG, M60, AK-47. I mean, she went for the proper channels. My workmate
Yeah.
did not. He went for the darkest thing, which cracks me up. I was like, "You lucky bugger." But it's something that's on my bucket list. I would love to go to Vietnam. Love to go to Vietnam. So much so when I did my riverboat model scene, my wife said it's good, except for one thing. She said you made the water too clean.
What too clear.
I said, pardon? It says like the water is literally like chocolate brown, probably even
Be like the
darker.
mud because it's always churning up, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, shit, really? But yeah, she went to Ho Chi Minh City and all that.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it's something it's on my bucket list. I don't know when I can do it, but I
Yeah.
really want to do it. Yeah, just like Joe Fest, I really want to do that too.
Yeah. Oh, it's
I
good
made some of
to have domes. Yeah.
yeah, mate. Yeah, but yeah, no, that's really great. Sort of talking about tour duty with you, bro.
Yeah, it's been awesome talk, man. And certainly welcome if you want to do another one another time or other episodes or what if you're up for it.
Yeah,
No
mate.
pressure,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
down the track we can do another one.
Oh yeah, shit, yeah. No worries. I could probably even grab my brother actually. He
Yeah,
probably wants to
yeah,
borrow
for
my
sure. You're
DVDs,
certainly welcome. I won't kick him
so
out.
he can catch up. But yeah, no, thank you so much, Johnny man, for letting me come aboard. That was pretty cool.
Oh, thank you
I've
for suggesting it a few weeks back. So I just thought of it this week. I was trying to think of. I've been meaning to contact you and go, what topic should we go with? And I went, oh, you did mention this a while back, so I thought I'll chuck this out there. And
yeah, it's awesome. And I couldn't do jack shit because like Vietnam, there was the raining season. So here in
yeah,
New Zealand, we've got the raining season, and I can't mow
yeah,
lawns or anything. It's quite
yeah. Our
depressing
wet
actually.
season just finished here.
Lucky you. Lucky you, mate. I really want to
That's
get
why I
out
was out
there and
doing weeds. It was pointless doing it a month ago because they're like literally like 5, 6 foot tall weeds. And if I pull them out 8 weeks ago, they'll be back every 2 weeks for that rain torrential season. So you got to wait till it's finished, then weed them out.
then weed them out. Yeah,
Mm,
I'm kind of lazy. I spray them, and then once they're like
yeah.
that dead period, then I
Yeah, well,
just
if I spray stuff here, it just laughs at me and I waste my money and I still have to pull them out. Can only
that's some
spray the
bad
little
ass.
stuff, the big ones, like the Vietnam size ones, like the guys are crawling around. And I've done that in my own backyard. I took my Necker Predator big figure out and put it in, and it looks like the jungle when it's been the wet season because the grass seeds are all it's all wild grasses.
I should actually start doing that. Do some like photos of like jungle and all that
Yeah,
for my Joes. I've seen like Ronnie
yeah,
Trick Shots, and his skills on photographs, and
yeah.
yeah.
Find
Or
a
I
bit of a
should do what he
log,
does.
bit of
He,
gravel was good for a photo.
I'm, I'm pretty sure he takes a Joe with him, no matter where he goes, and then he sees a
Yeah,
photo opportunity and just does it.
yeah,
So maybe I should need to do the same with that. Like bring a spare figure with me.
yeah. Take a beater out there. You're not worried if you lose it or something, and do some test photos. And
Yeah, I've got quite a few beaters, mate. Like this fella here, which I need to find a crutch piece. Where?
yeah,
But if I can't find a crutch piece, I'll just literally jury rig something else. That's how I come up with my custom figures. That's like
yeah.
that's a beater. I don't want to offend people saying a perfectly good figure. It's not a perfectly good figure. It's a beater.
Hey,
Beta sounds
Before
so
we
wrong,
finish
eh?
up, you better tell us what are you up to on the weekend? You got a show happening?
Yeah, I've got a live stream coming up tomorrow. So it's an unbox. I've got given by a workmate 2 huge boxes of toys. Now I've gone through them and I've sorted them out through. This is a heads up. So there's a few micro Star Wars figures, um, old school McDonald's toys, and
Yeah.
so he kind of wants me to sort of figure out a price for them so we can sell them.
Hmm.
So I need to find out my sources in New Zealand to see how much McDonald's toys are worth.
I want to
Uh,
get a few of these.
yeah, so
One of
I've
them.
got like a boxing to do. But more importantly, what I do is I want to do a special thank you to all the fans and supporters of my channel. Nice, $1 million man.
Get some dollar bills.
Yeah, and I literally said to my workmate, like, these are his toys. He said basically do like 50-50, and I'm gonna like, nah, he can have majority of it, bro.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Um, it's kind of funny because I find now, like, I've done the channel for about a year and a bit
Yeah.
now,
Yeah, it's
and
going well.
my attitude has changed. So much so, I must tell you the story. So I was at our fruit and veggie shop, just gonna get some fruit and veggie supplies for the family and all that. And in front of me there was a Down syndrome girl, and she wanted
Hmm.
to buy a couple of mandarins, but she didn't have enough money to buy the mandarins. So I just stepped in and said, like, there you go,
Yeah.
here's a couple of dollars, all yours. She didn't say anything because I understand being quite shy and all that.
Yeah.
But the store owner says, I know her quite well, and that actually means a lot to her. And I said,
Oh, that's
like,
good.
it's no worry. And I wasn't trying to like hurry her and all that. Like, I've
Yeah.
got an older brother that's he's got like probably a mental age of a 20-year-old now.
Hmm.
Shit, I wish I had a mental age of a 20-year-old. Maybe I do have sometimes. um, but yeah, I understand it. I literally understand it and I get it. So I just went, nah, I'll do that. And I feel like I need to give back. So I want to
Yeah.
do a show just thanking the supporters and the people who donate stuff to the channel. Um, there's going to be a special thank you to my wife because, man, I don't know how she could put up with my shit, actually. So
Yeah, that's
check
a
it
good
out. That's
question.
it. Yeah, so check it out. It's at 8:30 New Zealand time. So if you aren't subscribe or
Yeah,
whatever,
I'll
check it
make
out.
sure I'll chuck a link in the description too. So I mean, and
And as a
I'll
special
make
thanks
a
to you too,
post as
Johnny.
well, so it's a link to it as well.
Yeah.
And I'll watch
Believe
it
it or not,
tomorrow. So I'll be Sunday. Sunday, it's Saturday or it's Sunday. It's tomorrow. So yeah, Sunday you do it.
Sunday. Yeah, mate.
Yeah,
Because my
cool.
brother
Yeah, I'll
does night
definitely be
shift.
around. I can watch that.
That's the best time to watch it. But I'm also gonna, and if he's probably gonna see this, and he'll see it too.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I'm gonna do a special thanks to him because the amount of times I have gone off screen or have had
mm,
glitches
yeah.
due to my Wi-Fi,
Bit of
which
this.
don't worry about it. It is what it is. But he's taken the ball and he supported the show until I've come
Yeah.
back. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's good.
I'll be
That's
doing
good.
this. I'll be doing this.
Sometimes I
It
have to
might be
duck
a
out when I'm doing my weekly thing with the Mark, and the cat's running around going, "Ah," and I just pause, mute, or go out for a minute, come back and deal with it.
yeah. Yeah, so there'll be yeah, the show might be longer than an hour or so because I'll be
Yeah.
ramming on a few names, and the ones I
Yes.
don't mention,
Like anniversary
I would,
show.
yeah, I'll be definitely putting on in the descriptions all the people I'm thanking. So if I don't thank you, it doesn't mean I don't love you. It just means that my absent mind would have forgotten it. I'll be using my trusty whiteboard for all the
Yeah.
names I've mentioned.
Cheat sheet.
Yeah, but yeah, I'll just say a special thank you to all the people out there.
Oh,
You
that
know,
sounds good. I look
it's
forward to that, man.
yeah, it's come a lot because I also with my channel I do like customs and I'm doing a lot of extreme customs which people may or may not like it, but
Yeah.
what gets me is that I'll ask on the Facebook group I'm in New Zealand and saying, oh, does anyone have a spare, I don't know, AK-47 or something, and I'm willing
Yeah.
to pay for it, and they'll
Yeah.
say, yeah, I've got one, and I say, how much? No, mate, it's yours. And I go, like, mate, you don't have to do that. Like, honestly, he says, nah. And their response is, I love to see the content that you do. and that really means a lot to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great feedback.
Yeah, yeah. Just like your stuff, mate. I didn't know you actually do AI songs, and I started
I
watching a
don't. I
few.
don't. I just mucked around with it this week. I just like to learn about different things, and I haven't tried them out. And a friend who does weird, fantastic toys like Bill over in the south and the southern states of America, he'd made some, and I thought, I'll just give it a go and muck around with it. So I'm doing them now, but I probably won't be next week. It's just something new toy to play with until I get bored of it and see how I can incorporate it into other things.
Yeah, yeah. I've thought about using AI because I don't like the sound of my voice, but
Yeah.
and I also like how Kiwis do. We sort of mumble fuck a bit.
You're
We talk
speaking
too
to the number
fast.
one mumbler here, man. I live in Perth. And people are like, "What are you talking about, man? Slow down, man."
Yeah, that's us. And I don't know about you, but we sort of take things. We sort of beat it like when something's wrong, we beat ourselves up a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're probably our worst critics. And I
that's
recall
true.
watching a live stream with Shark Eyes and Ronnie, and I remember Ronnie was saying like, "Oh, what's up, man? What's up?" And I think I was getting myself beat up on my last video I did,
Yeah,
and for some reason, the mic wasn't working, and even though I tried to on my last video, I tried
pisses you off, doesn't
changing the
it?
sound. I was kind of beating myself about it, but but it's like watching Ronnie and Frostbite and all you guys. It sort of picks me up again. Believe it or not, it actually like watching Sazel's show on a Monday
Yeah,
picks me up. Watching um,
yeah. And the
Ronnie,
glitches happen to everyone. You just try and keep going and do what you can and hope for the best.
yeah,
It's like,
exactly. And I've got to say that to myself, even though I'm doing things on a cheap, because I did promise my wife I'm not going to cost too much money because she goes,
yeah,
oh, how much it's going to cost. I mean, if I was on my own, I don't give a fuck
building an
how much it
underground soundproof bunker. You can't stop me.
is. Yeah, exactly. And if I was paying for it myself and I was on my own, I don't give a fuck. I would just go ahead and
Yeah, yeah,
buy the equipment, and I'll just eat on baked beans for a couple of days or so. You know,
yeah,
um, but when you got a family to support and all that, you've got to do what's your pennies. And um, but yeah, I've had a couple of guys have come in and put in like super chats and all that, and I've got to do a big special thank you for that because
yeah,
now that I'm partly monetized. I'm still halfway instead of being fully monetized. I'm partly,
yeah.
so people can do like super chats or membership. I'm not quite sure about the membership thing. I'm kind of nervous, so I'm going to have to talk to Sazel about that because he's been playing the game a
Yeah,
lot
he's a
longer
guy
than
to
me.
talk to.
Yeah, and he's a brilliant guy. Like literally, I've kind of made myself a promise. If I can't go to Joe Fest,
Yeah,
I'll make myself with my family
yeah.
make my way to Aussie.
Zazel first.
Yeah, I'll try and make it so that we can meet in a
You gotta
neutral
like you
space
gotta
or
like hitchhike when he's going again. Get over to where he is and just like hitchhike with him. And we're both off now to the big Joe Fest.
Oh, he is definitely a lot younger than me, so I'll be
Yeah.
struggling to keep up. I'll probably need to get myself one of those scooters to keep up with him. But if I ever do go to Joe Fest, I'm going there. I would have to be, and I said to my wife, unfortunately, because it costs a lot, I had to go there on my own. But I'm going
Yeah,
there
it's
for
so
that just in
expensive.
case.
Bloody flights from New Zealand over there, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, but apart from that, I also looked into it, and there's no refunds on the tickets. So if it gets
Oh
cancelled,
wow.
that's it.
Yeah, that's bad. Bloody
So
airline mafia.
yeah, I mean, no, the tickets like going to the states not a problem, but the
Yeah.
to go into Joe Fest, if the Joe Fest event
Oh, for the event itself. Yeah.
if it cancels, there's no
Yeah.
refunds.
That
And
stinks. I think there's gonna be a part refund or something.
yeah, yeah, it could very well change. I mean, I could be looking into that a little bit wrong, because I was deadly looking at it this year.
Yeah. I
Not
mean,
go this year,
if
but
that
see,
happened, you'd want like an alternative thing to go to, so you could still have a trip, so it's not wasted
yeah.
if you're booking all that shit.
But in saying that, if there's going to be a lot of Joe fans, they'll probably just go to the pub and have a party,
Yeah,
and they'll probably have a few collections there. Like,
yeah. It's all them
it is
blokes
what it
like
is.
bloody Largo and Wilhelm. Like, well, I know Wilhelm goes to like different conventions and that, and bloody Ken from Toy Connections. Like those guys hang out and that. And
Yeah, exactly. What about yourself, mate? Any new stuff coming up for you?
Do next thing I'm doing is it'll be up like tomorrow because it'll be later tonight. I'm talking with Mark because he's in Ireland, so we record a thing once a week, and then it'll be up the next day's MacGyver pilot episode of that.
Oh, mate, really?
Last
You
week we
must be
did Magnum, and then the following week we're doing A-Team and then Knight Rider. I just went and got a pilot season, all 80 shows, and then it kind of worked out. Also, Tour of Duty is also another 80 show right from there.
You must be a mind reader because you must be going from my head lately.
Yeah.
And I've been running it. I've been running the scene where he disarms the rocket.
There you go, sneak preview.
Yeah. So yeah,
So
I've been
same deal.
running
Got the
this.
pilot in there.
Yeah. So I've been running the scene, through YouTube.
Yeah.
As he's disarming a rocket. So I had to do some sort of setting up at work. And what was going through my head was the music as he was disarming. Yeah.
I always get that music. I love it. It's one of the best themes.
And I must have said it out loud. I must have hummed it out loud because my
Yeah.
foreman heard me doing it. What do you
Hand
mean?
me that duct tape and that Swiss Army knife. I'm going to solve this right now.
I believe that I've got on my YouTube thing that I'm a Kiwi
Yeah.
MacGyver repairing G.I. Joes.
Pretty much.
Like, there you go.
I'd agree with
Here's
that.
my paperclip.
I think it's a real Kiwi, not just you, but the whole rest of the country, also Kiwis. It's a real Kiwi thing, like the can-do MacGyver attitude. It's a big thing over there.
The number 8 wild sort of attitude, eh?
Yeah.
Kiwi ingenuity. Yep, that's a saying.
And it comes up to even like old bloody whether it's, I don't know, like music bands or racing or wartime. You look at like Kiwis got a pretty good track record of like bit in tight situations and coming out well. It's like,
yeah. I wondered if it's it could have been to the fact that, we're that little country on its own. There's no one else who's going to save our ass, so we better think of something. But in saying that, it's why we're also quite friendly. Like, we'll try and help. Oh, most of us will try and help each other out and other people.
Yeah.
Like, I know if something goes wrong and there's something that we can do, we'll try and send help or send relief.
Like you've driven up down the country and someone's broken down and can't change a tire or they're stuck or something. It's like someone's going to help you out. Not just leave you.
Here's something for nothing, bro. Even the mongrel mob has actually helped my mother out.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm not saying we're gangsters, but it was the older mongrel mob, but they helped her out though. Her car was stuck, and they helped her out.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Oh, mind you, we're not all roses, but it's all good.
It's been awesome talking to you. I thought like finish up here. I got some sort of things to do in that, and I want to thank you very much for hanging out, chatting about Tour of Duty. It's awesome, and your show is going to be on tomorrow. You're doing your kind of like anniversary live thank you show for the fans and people. And it's awesome to see your channel's kind of like growing really well. You're in an awesome kind of like place where there's a lot of people like toy stuff, hobby stuff, and military Joe stuff. So like it's your channel's only going to keep getting bigger. So it's only going to attract more people.
I kind of hope so, bro.
I will, man. Like I've had lifetime friends that are like real hobby kind of guys, not just like buying toys and shit, but I mean actually making stuff with artistic skill and that. Yeah. And I always admire that sort of qualities in people able to build stuff and modify and do custom stuff is awesome.
So here's something I'm going to be doing tomorrow, and
Grimlock, him king.
The arm is broken, so this looks like Kiwi G.I custom guy could be also doing maybe a couple of transformer repairs.
Yeah, if you get an arm, you'll need to get some kind of chromey paint to go on there.
Yeah, that's
you can get them pen ones. Some of them are okay. Like I've done that little, see that bat there? That's just plain plastic, and then that's with that pen on it. But that one's like metallic. It's not a true chrome, but it's kind of simulated. But you can get ones that are better quality that look more like actual liquid chrome that you can just get straight on there.
Yeah, I'll talk to my Mr. Models guy in Palmy. and see what he's got. Or
Yeah, just take the toy in and show them what they got. See if you've got something that's like, I mean, chrome or vac metal, they called it in the 80s and that, where it's like I think there's some kind of like magnetic thing to like, stick on like powder coating in it.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah. Or if I'm hoping to get Toy Poloi on a future channel, on a future chat,
Yeah, he's a
and
genius.
have a talk to him about it. I basically kind of modeled myself off him, but also my style as well.
Secrets out too.
Oh, I've said it before. A lot of stuff I got to praise him. Really, it's just, that's why I want to.
Yeah, I'd steal my good ideas from Largo and Wilhelm and Zazel.
Yeah, and that's what we do. That's it's you take. I think the best comedians or actors steal parts of other people
Yeah,
and
like
mix it up
influence
to
and
make it
learn from
their
each
own.
other and like the model of the thing, or like
Yeah,
Zazel did all those ones on the Toy Biz with Adam, his mate up in Canada, did all that Toy Biz series about like Marvel and DC stuff from the 70s and 80s. And I went, I'm going to use that for a particular episode. Me and Mark did one on Kenner Aliens toys from the 90s. I went, I'm going to do like one blow up slide per figure. We did the entire line, which it's only a small line, ran for 5-8 years. But we did the whole entire line in like 2.5 hours, and it went through the whole thing, all catalog images, everything.
outstanding. Literally outstanding, bro.
But yeah, I can use that same model for other ones. I can do a Transformers one or a Ninja Turtles one. Use that same format because I pinched from the Zazel style.
Nah, he would have loved it, man. He's a good guy. He literally is a good
He's
guy.
awesome. We were talking about Sergeant Slaughter a week or so ago, and that was tremendous fun.
Yeah, I've got to actually end up finishing watching it too. So, how I watch a lot of stuff, because when you have kids like that, I volunteer
I kind
to
of
do
binge
the
it.
dishes.
I save it and I binge it when I got time to watch it.
Well, yeah, I volunteer to do the dishes, so I put the phone on the windowsill while I'm doing the
Yeah,
dishes.
yeah. I've done that. I've done that when making dinner or something. I have a phone, or if I'm playing video games or something, I'll chuck on a tablet or something next to me so I can listen to the talk while I'm doing stuff and relaxing.
Yeah, it's great. I made a comment. I think it was my dragon converting the tiger fly to the dragonfly video, and someone says, "Oh, I can't stand to watch something for 45 minutes." And I
Just listen to it.
replied, I said, like, you can just watch it in sections, mate, and then you can go back and watch it again, like the following day or an hour or so. You don't need to do the whole setting. Like, but I was really polite. I'm also, I've had a couple of criticisms, but I'm like super polite. And my workmate says to me, "You're basically calling them an asshole without calling them an asshole. Like, you basically are so polite with your comments." I said, "Do you ever get a response?" I said, "No, I don't." It says, "No, there's no comeback. You're just too polite." I said, "I know." I said, they want me to get upset, and I won't get upset.
I like the Tour of Duty guys. Like, no, I got the experience, and I'm a survivor. I'm not getting upset about this.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's like the blonde-headed guy, the surfer guy was a lizard. It's like your mama. It reminds me of your mama. He was cool, calm, collective. He could have punched him over, but he didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to be a smart ass. People say something like that to me, real person. I'll be like, "Oh, which particular part reminds you of her?" And tell me more about this, because I'm not expecting that.
What do you mean by which part reminds me of her?
To the eyes or the tail or everything between.
It could be everything between.
But yeah,
No, that's
we'll
cool,
finish
bro.
up, man, because I got to get on, shuffle, and do some things. Been awesome
Yeah,
hanging out
same
with
here,
you.
brother.
Let's do it again.
Yep, most definitely, bro. Catch you
Yeah,
later.
we'll catch you another time, folks.